we will begin with Sarah giving us 3 of the 99 names of Allah, and then we'll dive into the Surah for a little. And then I wanted to get into the Sarah will go ahead and take over. I'll share my screen about for Ramadan, how we're going to break up reading the Quran for whoever wants to participate. If you don't want to, for like finishing it within that month, it's totally fine, but we'll still be having the weekly Quran study meetings. You can just go with like the surah. So everyone's just welcome at their own pace. But I really want to be in tune and touch this Ramadan. So like anyone else that wants to join that journey is more than welcome. If you're not on that journey, it's totally fine. We're all on a different path. And then we'll go ahead and dive into the fundraiser, which I think I'm going to announce tonight. We'll see how we all feel about it. And then we'll discuss what days and times we're going to be meeting for during Ramadan. And then we'll close it from there. So and then we'll of course end it with the hadith of the week. Okay, so go ahead, Sada. The floor is it Sarah or Sada?
Either or. My family calls me Sada.
Okay.
People call me Sarah.
Okay, so go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, so today we're going to cover name 26, 27, and 28. So the 26th name is As-Sami, the all-hearing. Multitudes of voices calling to you constantly, but you hear every single one complete and clearly. Innermost thoughts to the loudest sounds, everything is within your range, but we still utter so many hurtful words. To please you, we must change. Number 27 is Al-Basir, the all-seeing. Your vision is all-encompassing, unaffected by sleep or slumber, seeing all the galaxies and all within, regardless of the number. Whatever we say, whatever we do, whatever we may be, every moment, day and night, everything you see. Al-Hakam or Al-Hakim. Can someone correct me? Is it Al-Hakam? Al-Hakam, the judge. Nothing moves without your will. Your command, no one can override. In all manners, you are absolute. In all things, you decide. So those are the 3 for today.
Can you repeat the first? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the first one is one that I really liked, As-Sami, the all-hearing. Can you imagine God, all the voices that reach out to him, not even humans, creatures, like animals. He knows every innermost thought, feeling, word chanted. And then the last part where it said, but we still utter so many hurtful words. So, all these like words that we utter to ourselves or whisper, Allah is hearing all of these. And yeah.
There was something you said, I don't know if it was between the first and second name, and that you mentioned, oh my goodness, I just lost my train of thought now. Can you repeat number 1, please?
So number 1 is As-Sami, the all-hearing, multitudes of voices calling to you constantly, but you hear every single one complete and clearly. Innermost thoughts to the loudest sounds, everything is within your range, but we still utter so many hurtful words. To please you, we must change.
To please you, we must change.
Yeah.
That's what stuck out to me. So I don't know if in the previous studies that we met, I know that Aqua is running a little late, but we talked about like jihad al-nafs, like to please you. That I feel like that we must change. I feel like whenever I'm going through like a back and forth with myself and I'm like, okay, like, one path seems easier and is more laid back, but then I'm like, but why do I keep thinking about the straight path? Like, why do I keep thinking like maybe I need to slow down on this or cut down on this? And I feel like that just gave me like just how you said he hears you and he knows what you're saying. I feel like that's like your communication with Allah, then, and it's not something that you can actually like speak or see physically. It's like a feeling, and that's what makes each of our journeys so like special and so different. So I don't know if anyone resonates with that.
Yeah. No, that speaks to me because God is within us, right? He's in our heart. So I don't know. You know that saying where you say you must die within to die, where you kill your ego or something?
You must kill your to kill your ego to live or something.
I'll
I
think about it later, but I was obsessed with it
don't
for years. To die within, or you die twice in life. The first time you die is when you kill your ego. That's when you really get to your core, your soul, your ruh, right?
Mhm.
And that's when you find out your personality, because your ego overshadows your personality. Sometimes you think you're this person, but it's not, it's your ego. So when it said to please you, we must change, I thought about, like, okay, how do I change? How do I kill certain aspects within me to actually reveal who I really am
Yeah.
spiritually
Yeah.
with a relationship to God? You know what I mean?
Or just as a person.
Yeah, just as growing as a person,
Just
right?
growing, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into the Surah. So, did anyone want to talk about any ayahs that stuck out to them first? There was one that did stick out to me that I wanted to say something about, but I have to find it. So, it's
So
in-
I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to read the Surah. I know it was so short. Does anybody know, like, can give like a brief summary a little bit about it or some of the themes? I guess I can read it right now. It's like literally one page.
okay. Who said Did someone say
I did.
I'm done. You're totally fine.
Sarah.
My interpretation of it, I don't know if it's going to be completely wrong, so like you can go ahead and say it, but from what I got, it spoke a lot about the prophet and having respect for the prophet, but then I think that it also reiterates just how to have respect amongst one another, because there was like an ayah that spoke about like raising your voice, which is what I was trying to find to like talk about. But why don't you read the summary and then we'll take it from there.
Wait, you said you could read it for, it's like one page. Did you mean the surah itself or the summary? A
The
summary of
Surah.
the
But
surah.
you can, if you want to share a little bit of background, if you know it.
I mean, everything I know is from that Nauman Ali Khan lecture I shared. So anything that I reference here is straight from him. From what he said, that the surah came down because there were some people that didn't really understand like their boundaries with the prophet, and it was kind of to make clear, because there was a time where the prophet wasn't the prophet, and he was his best friend Abu Bakr and Ali radiallahu anhu, and his wife, and so those people were just calling him by his first name. And so it was kind of like establishing that now things are going to change, and he is someone who is well respected in the community, and he's leading a huge community in Ummah. And now we have to say Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And so a lot of the people that were there were people that were coming to his house and like asking him for advice or whatever, even if it was for something that wasn't positive, if they were disbelievers, they were just calling his name. And so this is why this ayah was revealed, to make that clear, and to make sure that we are respectful, and we have these certain boundaries when we talk about the prophet and all. So I feel like for me, the surah was kind of broken into kind of four parts or three parts. The first part is that about respecting the prophet, and the second part was about how to handle a fight, like if something was to break out between us as Muslims, how we should go about it. And then after that, it kind of segues into also how we when there's a judge amongst us, they should be a fair judge. It would be someone who's kind of trying to be not biased. It's important to remember that. It's actually reminding us of that. And then again goes into, you know, gossiping and how it's wrong and how foul language is not acceptable. And it's a lot about manners, about how we should be respectful. And it even says in a part of it something about like not only respecting others, but also respecting yourself. And then talks about, you know, the backbiting, the suspicions, don't eavesdrop, don't spy, and
Mind your own business.
Yeah. Mm,
and I forgot, I'm not recalling the last part really well, but I think the last part was more about how the belief that some people will come and say, oh, they believe, but God is saying like, you don't, it's not, you believe you're Muslim, but you have to have faith. Like it's important. It emphasizes the faith part. And then it talks about do not consider your Islam a favor to me, because some people did come and say like, oh, we did this for Islam, and we did this, we fought in Battle of Uhud for Islam, and we like, as if like Islam owes them something. And you know, Nauman says that, you know, we're all gonna go and Islam is gonna remain, so we can't really, that we're not here forever. So Islam does not owe us anything, and actually we owe Allah everything. So that's like kind of the 4 parts that I broke it down to.
Actually, oh, I'm sorry, I'm cutting. Very nice, very nice. Only says according to 3 parts, you are close.
3 parts, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was
Want
great.
Great. Yeah, it was great.
Great
Very
job,
nice
though.
explanation. Great job.
Yeah,
Thank
that was
you.
really good. I just wanted to
go ahead.
I wanted to piggyback off of what Sarah said at the end. People, you know, Islam doesn't owe you something. People would say, oh, I sacrificed this for Islam and stuff, thinking that, you know, they did something. It kind of reminded me when I was younger. I used to be like, you know, when you used to pray because you had to pray and you're like, I'm praying for God. But now that I'm older, I'm like, no, I'm praying for myself. You thought it was like a task you had to do because you were doing it for someone, or doing it because your parents told you, or because you're Muslim. But now you do it for like your own peace, your own strength. And that just connected me, where it's like Islam doesn't owe you anything. You owe it everything.
Actions and intentions speak louder than the words. Yes, Aqua. Sarah, basically what you were saying in the beginning about like the respect, that's what I was trying to say, because when I told you there's an ayah that talked about like how we speak to the prophet, and I thought about like how you speak amongst one another. So I can't find the ayah. I knew it was in the beginning, but an ayah that did stick out to me was 13. So I can read it out loud, and I think that's where you introduce the second portion of the theme. So it says, all mankind, we created you from a single pair of male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes, that you may know each other, not that you may despise each other. Verily, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is he who is the most righteous of you, and Allah has full knowledge and is well acquainted with all things. I love that ayah. So to my sub note for that one, I don't know if anyone's is different, but my sub note
It's
for
very
that one,
different.
it is.
Yours is very detailed. Yeah, mine is very short. Was that just 13?
Yeah, that was 13. Like what it was, just what's crazy to me is how it's like we created you from a single male and female, and then it's like, but then there's nations and there's tribes, and that's like you, and then it just dives right into it and says, not that you may despise each other, because we're all so different. And that's having that respect, like for everyone, whether you're Muslim or not, or however your belief system as a Muslim is. And it's just like saying, like, at the end of the day, it's Allah that knows everything. So leave everyone to God, because they have their own connection to God, because and you have to respect one another. And I think that's an oversight that is oversight.
this verse, like, we have created you from a male and female and made you into peoples and tribes so that you might come to know each other. That is something, that's a verse that I don't know if it's repeated before in the Quran or what, but it just makes me, now that I'm like growing and understanding myself more and understanding people around me more, I've come to realize that the people that struggled the most when they immigrated to this country or immigrated to any other country, those people that struggled the most were the ones that were constantly resisting and constantly having this friction between them and the new culture that they're going to, instead of, you know, kind of accepting it and taking the best out of it and taking the best from their culture and holding on to their Islam. And to me, I would say that to them as a reminder, like, you know, you're not here to tell your kids like, oh, like Americans are bad, or like these people are, you know, whatever we see like in the news and politics and those extremists. So it's like we are here, like God wanted this to happen. He wanted us to be different. He wanted us to be different cultures and different languages and religions and all of that, so that we may learn from each other.
That's a good way of looking at it. Mine says not get to know each other. Mine says we have created you all male and female and have made you nations and tribes so that you would recognize each other. It's also, it also stems back to like recognize we all came from the same place. We're all, you know, brothers and sisters of humanity. You know, we all stem from Adam and Eve, from male and female. And
Right.
also recognize, like you were saying, Sarah, recognize the similarities rather than the differences.
So I'm gonna read you what, because there's like a sub note for this ayah, so I'm just gonna read it out loud to how it just like conveys this. So it just says, this is addressed to all mankind, not only to the Muslim Brotherhood, though it is understood that in a perfected world, the two would be synonymous. As it is, mankind is descended from one pair of parents. Their lives, tribes, races, and nations are convenient, oh my God, I literally butchered that word, labels, by which we may know certain differing characteristics. Before Allah, they are all one, and He gets most honor who is most righteous. That's exactly what it says, but I think it meant to say He gives most honor who is most righteous. So
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I think Zizi, you're touching, so in mine, like the tafsir at the bottom for that particular verse, because as I was reading through this whole surah, this so aligns with that last speech that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave. It very much aligns with it. And in this tafsir that I have, it says the Prophet is reported in the hadith collected by Imam Ahmed to have said, "O humanity, your Lord is one, and your ancestry is one. No Arab is superior to a non-Arab, nor is a non-Arab superior to an Arab. No white is superior to any black, nor is any black superior to any white, except on account of their righteousness." The Prophet spoke of this in his speech, and this particular surah aligns with that.
Yep.
Beautifully, yeah.
Love it.
He had concern that there was going to be issues with women, that there was going to be issues with racism, that there was going to be issues with how people treated their families, and subhanAllah, we're seeing that. So yeah, I enjoy this surah very much.
Yeah, that ayah for me, because the first theme that I got out of the ayah was respect, like respecting the Prophet. Basically, like the Prophet should be addressed differently because he has gained that respect. And then it just like went on to say how we should respect others and then respect ourselves. And it's just like, I just feel like in my 20s, if I just listened and like read the Quran, there's so many things that I would have done differently.
I know, but you know, I think
and
the journey
is as a radical standpoint, because I remember, like, I'm sorry, Aqua, to cut you off, but I just remember what Sada was saying about when I used to pray. I used to say, "Oh, I'm praying for Allah," or "Your parents would make you," and we used to look at it as a chore, and it's just so crazy, just because we don't understand it.
But remember, we talked about that frontal cortex and how it takes time, and for some it develops early, and if it does, then they should, grab hold of that knowledge. And for others, it comes later on, right? So, alhamdulillah for everything and for the journey.
Right, 1,000%.
Mhm.
Yeah, God only knows. Only God knows. So let's see. What other ayahs that stood out? Was there anything else, anyone? Because the last ayah that I wanted to discuss was the last one. But if there was anything else anyone wanted to talk about?
I wanted to talk about something that Norman highlighted, which was the ayah 10. I think it was 10 to 11. Just read it. I'll read it quickly. Surely all believers are brothers. So make peace between your brothers and fear God so that mercy may be shown to you. Believers, let not some men among you ridicule others. It may be that the latter are better than the former. Nor should some women laugh at others. It may be that the latter are better than the former. Do not defame or be sarcastic to each other, or call each other by offensive nicknames. How bad is it to earn an evil reputation after accepting the faith? Those who do not repent are evildoers. So that was a very detailed reminder from Allah.
I like those who do not repent are considered like evildoers, because I just feel like we all have a moment to like repent, you know?
Yeah, and the part about how bad is it to earn, like what a shame is it to really, after claiming the faith and being faithful and everything, to like spoil that with some soured tongue, or like bad things that you shouldn't say about someone, or and hey, like we all do it. It's not no one's an angel, but it's like
Catching yourself.
every time, like if I ever was to say something negative, like every time I go back and I have this, like, I'm like, why did I say that? I don't remember that I've ever said something negative that I was like, oh yeah, this was good. Like, I'm glad I said it,
It's on your conscious.
Yeah.
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 So that was good lesson there.
Yeah, I think this is a universal message that I wish that like just society, or just like Muslims, I guess, would follow a little more. Because if you look at it, you realize that there is mental clarity behind it. Because I feel like this is where it comes to mental health, like the surah, because it's basically respect, don't hurt people's feelings, don't, like, respecting yourselves, having clarity. So I think this kind of touches on mental health, but it's not perceived that way. I don't know if anyone else could.
And talks about bullying, right? Because it says, don't laugh behind each other's back about each other. Don't defame someone. Don't be sarcastic in a way that is, passive aggressive or whatever. Don't nickname. That's a big thing. Like,
Offensive
a lot
nicknames,
of people call people names and they think it's funny, and sometimes it's okay, like it's a cute name and your best friends and you're cool with it, but sometimes it is offensive, and the person might not say it or might not feel confident to say it, and they show it with their body language, and that's when the other person should really stop. And it's very common. It's very common.
And even I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Even in our friends, like sometimes we give them names, don't even call their real name in friend groups. I mean, give nickname. And that's what Sarah was saying exactly. I was thinking about bullying. Some people not comfortable, but we still do that. And also ayah number 12, is very, very caught my attention. Like sometimes we say things like we're suspicious about people, like, oh, they might say it, and this is very sinful. Ayah number 12. And sometimes we say that's like, oh, this person may be saying this about me, and totally it's wrong, and it's sin. It's sinful. it's amazing that every little things are in Quran and we don't read.
Or apply it.
I think it's
Yeah,
not about reading, it's just how we interpret it. Like now,
Yeah,
Right.
how we interpret it. Yes, like bullying came out from that verse.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, I think as you gain more knowledge,
Yes.
and wisdom, you start to interpret it and seeing that things you never saw. You can read the Quran infinite times and always take something new out of it, because as your
Oh, yeah,
wisdom grows
absolutely.
and your knowledge
Mhm.
grows, your understanding of the Quran grows, and we'll still never truly understand the Quran.
Yes,
Right.
that's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think even for us to discuss this, like with someone like being sarcastic, it's like part of people's personality, right? It becomes this habit that you just do, and maybe it's a defense or however you look at it. I could say, like in my 20s, I used to be very sarcastic, and that was just like my thing. But now, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this is it. It probably will hurt people, and people don't take it that way, and I mean, I kind of like, relaxed off that a long time ago, but it still makes you kind of see it in a different way, and see it in a different perspective. But it's very good to talk about it and discuss it within a group, because like you guys said, like as we grow and as we read it, like I've read the Quran before. I don't even remember seeing this. So I think it's good to kind of review it again.
Yeah, and there was this like girl on TikTok giving advice, this woman I should say, to 20-year-olds, and one of the things she said was like, whatever someone says behind your back about you is none of your business.
Mhm.
And to me, it's like
I couldn't
this
understand
goes
it.
hand in hand with this, like do not spy,
Yeah.
do not be suspicious, like if it happens, like if they're saying something, like just don't, it's not your business. Like that's what they think of you. That's not, don't take it personally. It's not a fact.
For me, it was always hard because my friend had said that to me before. Because I met her through like my cohort, and she understands how like our like my community culture whatnot is, and she would always tell me what other people think of you is not your business, and I had such difficult time, like digesting that, because I'm like, but I can hear it and it bothers me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it is my business because it's
and
about
and
me.
there's also the thing of like the Arab culture is a lot of about reputation and making sure the reputation is okay and not spreading that. So I picked up that a long time ago, and I could tell you to this day my family is just like, why are you this way? But it's at the end of the day, as long as I know I'm doing good, Allah knows I'm doing good, my family knows I'm doing good, anything else doesn't really matter. But it's hard to pick that up, honestly, especially in art. Like, I don't mean to stereotype or anything, but just being in that culture, they're very big on reputation and making sure it looks good on the outside. But I agree. I agree with that statement all the way.
No, I think I can relate. I think a lot of us, and I can relate to that in different ways, because I think that that's just like, and that makes extra pressure. And then you're not focusing internally. You begin to focus on external when it's really supposed to be about your faith. And I think it was Ayah 14, and it says basically that this is what you thought to prove if your faith has any meaning, but you only say it with your tongue. So it's just about the meaning and the intention behind it. It's not about what you're showing.
Yeah, and I think we also have to just remind ourselves that, and that is, it is difficult to kick with culture, right? I think like in my household, I think my husband looks more on reputation than I do. And it's not to say I don't care about reputation, because reputation is important. I mean, we look at that when two people are getting married, right? We ask about them because we've been advised by the prophet that you should ask about their character, right? But at the same token, don't get so caught up in what people think or say to the point that you fear the creation more than you fear the creator.
Yeah,
That's key.
yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to add that.
No, that's a good point.
Right.
Okay. So did anyone else want to add anything onto the Surah before we move on, or?
There was Ayah 9 also talking about how we should handle a fight between two believers. and how, you know, when two believers are having a fight, we should try to make peace and we should bring them together, and we should try to bring them together privately. And if and everything goes great, you know, but then someone goes out and says, oh no, this didn't work out, and oh, by the way, they said this and that, and they claim or they lie about how it was done privately, then at that point, it should be a gathering that's like publicly in a public place. And I felt like it was like it's a guide into, I mean, again, this is the tafsir, it's a little more than what the ayahs say, and from what I heard from in the lecture, but it's like a great guide for how to handle, you know, controversial issues or fights that go on within the community. But it really emphasizes the peace and how we're all one ummah, and even, and if it says like believers, it doesn't say Muslims, it's just two people. If they're fighting, then we should try to make that peace, and God loves the just. So that's what it says here in at the end of ayah 9 for me.
Resolution. Aqua said resolution conflict guidance. This is similar between America. Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously like, I just think avoiding conflict is just what we're always supposed to do. And like, basically that just all ties into not backbiting, not causing drama, not hurting other people. So it's a domino effect.
Right.
Is it really, I think there's something that is called healthy conflict. It's a matter of, because this particular surah talks about social etiquette. It's how you deal with that. So there can be a healthy conflict that is present in a relationship between brethren, right? Between a husband, wife, you know, children and parents. It's how you approach it. You know, are you being socially, emotionally, and intellectually aware of what is taking present? And even if your feelings start, you know, rising up, you have to check yourself and remember that, oh gosh, I'm about to say something that is not so much as, you know, displeasing to the person who I'm speaking to, but is it displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You know, and when I go to stand before him on the day of judgment, he's going to ask me, how many hearts did I break? How many hearts did I try to mend? You know, and, you know, did I make
can't
that?
wait till a few people I know have to answer that question.
Zizi,
I
it's
mean,
like she's
how
gonna
many
jump
hearts
into
did you break? Yeah, like how many hearts did you break? Did you try to make an effort to repair them? But it also goes with saying that in some situations too, we may have conflict with our brethren or our sisterhood, right?
Yeah.
And can forgive, but we don't necessarily have to forget the lesson from that, because the interaction moving forward futuristically may look different because of the experience had. There's a conflict in personality. We recognize it. We realize that there's a different way we should deal with this. Maybe we shouldn't be in each other's face all the time, right? So it's about how do you deal with conflict? Because conflict is going, yeah.
It will be there no matter what.
Right. I mean, and some things really like there has to be a point where you agree to disagree, because really sometimes people can't just, you know, you can't just force your how do you say, on that person, what you believe, what you say is the right thing, because that's not how, sometimes other people don't think that way. And I think I love the way this whole thing reads. It's like a little guidebook just on how to deal with these things. And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but as I get older, and I'm saying this lightly, I'm not that old, but I'm getting older. But as I get older, I kind of find myself, like when I was younger, I was a very firecracker person and personality. And I sit there and I think to myself, my God, I used to be like, you know, this person that I would just speak without and say things without even thinking what I was, you know, my intention was to, maybe at that moment you're mad and you want to, you know, just hurt them or whatever. And now I find myself more like, you know, I kind of take a step back and try to think before I, you know, say something, and I'll reword things, like say something different than what I was originally going to say, just to lessen the impact of, you know, my words, or, you know, just to bring down the whole thing, just to lessen. I don't know how to you, like when
You're
you have
talking
to
about
be,
de-escalating the situation.
yeah, de-escalating things so you don't really, you know, you don't get to that point. And I like the way this does that. It just, wow. This whole surah was really beautiful.
And it's not to say that you can't, there's not, I mean, Allah designed us to have emotions, right? We're going to feel anger,
Right,
feel
right.
sadness, all of it. I mean, look at Umar al-Khattab, you know, like he was feisty. Wow, he was feisty, but he was among the righteous, and he too had to learn how, okay, when was that feistiness appropriate, like in battle, or if something really needed to be addressed in a very stern manner, and when was it time to kind of just sit back and establish patience, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You that's kind of like what I sit here and I read this and I'm wow. I find myself doing that now more, like at work, you know, trying to bring people together. Hey, let's not fight about this. Let's not do this. Don't do that. You know, the other one comes over and, you know, I in a way I kind of like just everybody getting along. You know? None of this like, oh, you know, what she did and blah blah blah. You know how you always have that office etiquette that they
Yeah.
you get a bunch of women. I mean, the guys are even worse, but whatever. I mean, I mostly I don't deal with it, but I just kind of find myself, you know, like, nah, don't do that. You know, it's not right. And I just, you know, just everybody get along.
You earn a lot of people's trust when you do that. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to stand up for the right thing and kind of be like, hey guys, like, or not be the one to be involved in a gossip
Right.
or you know, just taking joy in talking about others and stuff. But when something like that happens and a conflict happens, you will be the one that they will listen to and stop, because they trust you and respect you for that. And it's subtle.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's
think
not going to be
that's
said, but it's like,
I think that's probably why they sit there and they come to me, oh my God, this happened and I don't know how to deal with it. What should I say? What should I do? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened here? You know, you know,
yeah.
but I always try to be a mediator, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like we shouldn't even be doing this to each other. Like I said, we should be getting along. We should be learning from each other. We should be supporting each other. Um,
Right.
I agree.
And
Okay.
yeah, it's a blessing to have that. And Aqua, you said it like this, this surah is teaching us a lot of social etiquette from the beginning of about how we should talk to speak of the prophet and respect him when we're saying his name, no matter if they were people that knew the prophet before he was the prophet, or people after, or people that don't even believe in the message. And then going on to talk about how we should handle fights, going on to talk about how we should handle backbiting, and we should refrain from you know, speaking poorly of others, and all of that. And then wrapping it up with saying that only Allah really knows how our faith is. You know, we can accept Islam and everything, but it is the faith that is gonna be the most important thing, and to achieve that level of faith is not easy. So that's how this surah was really, really good.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. If
You guys,
on-
I'm so sorry. I know we're getting into getting it's just that we have so many things to touch base on, and I want to be conscious of everyone's time. So
Sorry.
no, you guys are totally fine. I love when we get like this, but we just have so many updates. So but thank you guys so much. And then so let's, before we dive into the other things, let's talk about what days we'll be meeting. So are you guys okay with still meeting on Thursdays, but do you guys want to meet about an hour like 2 hours before iftar time, so we end an hour before iftar? Is that enough time for you guys or no?
So I would have to look at my calendar because you're on the East Coast, yeah?
Yeah, I'm on the East.
Yes.
So
Um,
if thought, so so if we met the 23rd, it says if thought is around 8:22. So would you guys be able to meet 6:30 p.m. Eastern for the month of Ramadan or no?
So before iftar.
Yeah. I feel
Six-
like we did it before iftar last year.
Then for us, Gigi, it will be like our iftar will be 7 something. So we're only gonna have probably 30 to 40 minutes before iftar and then setting up,
Okay, so what about 6 p.m. Eastern?
6 sounds good.
And if
I
you guys come in late or leave early,
Okay.
obviously it's totally fine. Like I know like it's like iftar,
Yeah, I
but
might
I
have
just
to leave
know
early.
after iftar, nobody like you're just like everyone's doing their own,
Yes.
'cause so we were meeting before iftar. So if you guys could just react to the screen if Thursday 6 p.m. Eastern time is okay with you guys for moving forward.
So that's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time because Maghrib on the 22nd, 23rd will be around 7:30 and then
Okay.
Asr is like 4:40. So I
So
would have
that's
to,
the same for me.
yeah, I would have to commit finally. Well, I've been making better leaps this year of leaving at my contract time. I need to make that an effort. Like it's something I've been really working on. So
Okay.
I can make it, but I might be late.
That's okay if you're late, and even if you guys join on just with the camera, and then we pick up like throughout Ramadan, we'll maneuver it, but we'll figure it out, but I think it'll work. And then as
How
we
does
take
it
guests
start?
later, we'll be able to like it's Thursdays at 6 p.m. So
What about 6:30, just to give people time, or is that not good for people? Because I'm thinking even
I
for
was
the
saying
East Coast.
6:30 at first, but then Charmin said that it would give.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, okay, how about 6:30? Oh, can you guys react on the screen if 6:30 works better?
Yeah, I think 6:30 would be good.
Yeah, because that gives me like I know people, if people work in like 9 to 5 or anything, like at least that gets them home.
6:30.
and,
Okay,
like,
it looks like there's more hands up for 6:30. So look, we'll do it
Yeah.
at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. If you want to leave later, like if you want, sorry, if you want to leave a little earlier or later, it's totally okay with me. So you guys go ahead and like do your like own thing. But I think 6:30 p.m. Eastern is doable every Thursday for now on.
Yeah.
Okay.
6:30 is
Okay,
fine.
so now I'm gonna allow Sara to take over the floor. So this is okay. So she's gonna explain it. So for this Ramadan, if anyone's interested in finishing the Quran, we're gonna be doing it together to finish it this month. But every week we will be carrying the study. So like next week, we'll be going over Surah 50. The week after Surah 51. So if you're not doing the whole Quran this Ramadan, that's totally fine. You can still join the weekly meetings. Nevertheless, we're still going to be reading the Quran as a team for all of us. So inshallah, all of us will get the blessing. So I'm going to let Sara take over. Let me share my screen so I can.
Okay. So ladies, a lot of you guys know that I put out a poll on who would like to participate. I believe we're at 18. I haven't checked in a few days, but last I checked, it was 18 participants. If you would still like to take part, please just select the poll so that I know how we're going to divide the 30 parts. So the Quran is divided into parts. Ultimately, it's 30 parts. And this is an example of how the juz, which is juz parts are. So we would all sign up for specific parts. So juz 1 is al-Fatiha and all the way to Surah al-Baqarah, A141. So who wants to read that part? They can put their name next to it or sign up for it. I don't want to assign parts to some people because some people have surahs that are like near and dear to their hearts and they would like to read them. So once I have a complete total of who would like to take part in this, you guys can say what part you wanted to read, and basically you would be held accountable at that part. So once you commit to this, because we are reading the Quran as a community, as a group, yes, please commit to that day to reading your part so the next person can follow your lead and read their part. And by the end of the month, we would have read the Quran together in a unit. Did you guys have any questions? I do know that there's some free PDFs where you can get the Quran separated into parts. For those of you that don't have them separated in little booklets, I didn't even know I had it until like literally we talked about this. I had no clue. I thought they were like mini little Qurans. But this is the breakdown, and I'll send a full breakdown. You can just read from whatever Quran that you're currently reading from. And I did have some people reach out to me asking, do we have to talk about it during our Quran study? Are we going to be meeting daily about it? No. So this is something that we're all going to do independently in our own time, whether you do it in the morning, at night, midday, whenever you can find the time that day. If you're assigned to that juz, get it done. But when we do meet weekly, because as we get further throughout the Quran near the end, the surahs are very, very short. So we will have time if somebody says, oh, I just wanted to share a little bit the juz that I read. It reminded me of this. It's voluntarily, you can share what you learned, what you liked, or what you didn't, or if you have questions. So we can definitely talk about it, but you're not obligated to share about it. Yeah. Any questions?
So I have a question. So Sada, how many people do we need signed up to have this accomplished?
Well, if you want every individual to have one juz, we need 30 people. But if we don't, then that's okay. Some people can read a little bit more than one juz. Some of us can read more than one.
Okay,
Yeah.
We have to take
we
some
have
of us
right
two
now?
chapters.
We have 19, and I just checked the poll. It's 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So we have 19 right now.
So okay, Sada, why don't you announce in the group chat, like it could be tomorrow when like it doesn't have to be today, just to ask if anyone does want to participate to vote by Sunday, so you can organize the list and then give them a deadline, so that way you're not, because like with Ramadan, everyone's gonna be so busy and like stressed as is. So do like a reminder and just do the deadline. And then that way we can just go ahead and break it up from there. So that way it's easier on you as well. Does that work?
Okay. Absolutely. That's perfect.
Okay. And then if any of you guys want to join that, I mean, and you don't even have, like, you don't have to discuss it if you don't want to. If you do, you're more than welcome to, but go at your own comfort. But don't be like shy or like feel obligated or unobligated. Just, like we want this to be like a safe space, comfort zone.
Yeah, and if it so happens to be that you signed up for a juz and you cannot do it, like, don't feel obligated. Send a message and be like, I'm so sorry, guys. Something came up. Can somebody take over for my juz? The important part is just honesty and taking accountability and just saying, I couldn't commit to this. I can't do it. I wish I thought I could, but I can't. So that somebody else can step up and take over and we can keep doing it. I would really hate to, think somebody did something and they didn't. Because this is kind of like, a commitment we're all doing together. So
yeah.
So are we gonna like
I
put
think
our
we should
names
take the
or something?
chapters now, Sarah, because Thursday is the first day of Ramadan, because all of us here right now who can
No, we
volunteer
said
to take.
we're gonna wait till Sunday. Everyone, so if anyone else wants to join, and then that way it'll give more time for her to organize, because we can't do that right now. That would just be chaos. So like if you want to join and sign up to that list, she's gonna send a reminder. And then tomorrow, then Sunday, she'll lock it in and she'll release the list by whatever. I'm not gonna say when you're gonna release it because you're making it, but I'm sure she'll do it before Ramadan so we can start. And I'm on the East Coast, so I may not be able to make a lot of the talk. That's okay. Even if you can't, just like do whatever you can, if you want to be present and just come on here and just be on mute and listen, like that's also totally fine. Come at your comfort zone, and I think as you come more, you'll realize how we really are a community, and you'll learn to be comfortable at your own pace. So inshallah, that will work. Okay, so anything else you wanted to add on to that, Sada?
no, I think we covered it. If you guys do have questions or anything, feel free to just message me separately on WhatsApp or even in the group or so on.
Yeah,
I'll try to have this out by Monday. We'll get a final tool on Sunday, and then on Monday I'll send out a form. If you have a preference, put your name next to it and we'll finalize it very soon.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, yeah. And then like even if you don't have time to do like the whole month, Sada, like right away, you can just do like the first week and then you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just do whatever like is less stressful for you.
Okay.
So me and my mom are doing this anyway. Like me and her are gonna split up the Quran.
Okay.
If he reads half of it, I'm gonna read half of it. So if you need anybody like to do extras, I'm gonna be reading it anyway. This just means that I'm gonna complete it twice now, with you guys and then with my mom.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry, who was that? It didn't show up on my phone.
Danya. Hello.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Hi. Okay, thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. And then so there was one more. Okay, so then fundraiser. So last year we had the Ramadan fundraiser. I shared the link, so I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to look at it. So that fundraiser, we specifically said where the donations were gonna go like ahead of time. So I was thinking this time around, I don't know if you guys read the new one I sent. I'm thinking of keeping it the same and not adding any fund like set in stone in any charities or organizations we're gonna send to. And what we'll do is I would love to distribute more to people like amongst all of us, you guys that know people overseas. I would love to donate more money to supply more food that way. So it's like we can spread it out differently. And then we can, obviously, if anyone has a passion for our organization or a charity they want to donate to, we can make a commitment to donate some portion of whatever it is we get out of that to that. So are you guys okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So do
fine.
you guys want me to launch it tonight and then I can launch it again tomorrow? I'll be posting it every week on my Instagram and TikTok, but are you guys good for me to launch it today and we start the donations like, well, tonight or tomorrow? Do you guys want me to launch it tonight?
Yeah, I think just to start it before Ramadan so people can prep and start we can start fundraising earlier. And I
Okay.
like this idea because it goes directly to people we know, in the hands of people we know.
Okay, yeah, so this time, let me just read real quick what I have on here. Yeah, so see, I put, please click the links below for more information on last year's fundraiser. And then I put, this is our second Ramadan. Our mission is to raise money and distribute it for individuals' meal. At the end of Ramadan, we plan to, okay, yeah, so I already have it set, so I can just share it. And then the links to the other, the reel and the donations we made are there before. So like, hopefully like our donors from last year, we've gained their trust. And inshallah, this year we can meet like the goal we had last year. If we don't, that's okay. Whatever we get and we can raise, inshallah, we'll donate. So I will launch that tonight as well. So, okay, so next week I'll send a reminder. We're gonna meet at 6:30 p.m. For the month of Ramadan on Thursdays, inshallah, and we'll be going to Surah 50. So for anyone meeting next week, it's gonna be Surah 50, and then Sada will have an update for us on Monday about what's gonna go moving forward for reading the Quran for the month of Ramadan. And then fundraiser will be launched tonight. So if you guys could repost that also on your Instagrams, I'd really appreciate that, which leaves me, please send me your Instagram handle if you were in today's session, because I want to tag you so we can, you guys can repost the fundraiser. So, or you guys can obviously repost the link on your own because I will send it. So I know it's a lot of updates, but I think this is a great month as like a community of women, especially being Ramadan. We put our energy and focus into it, and I think it'll be amazing. I know I'm going all in this year because like I need it for my soul. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so so hadith of the week, we'll conclude with that, and then after that we'll end, and inshallah we'll meet next week when it's Ramadan. Okay, here you are. So this says, narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, do good deeds properly, sincerely, and moderately, and receive good news, because one's good deeds will not make him enter paradise. They asked, even you, O Allah's messenger, peace be upon him. He said, even I, unless and until Allah bestows his pardon and mercy on me. And then it says, do you think your deeds alone will carry you across the bridge of Sirat? Your actions, intentions, deeds, and legacy will benefit you, but it is only with Allah's mercy that you will have any of these things, and it is only by His permission that that your loved ones will enter paradise. Remember that and remember Him, for Allah's mercy has no bounds.
Very fitting for today's student.
Right?
Yeah, very.
Thank you, Charmin.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
So please send me your Instagram name if you were in today. The fundraiser will be launching. I'm super excited for Ramadan. If you have any questions, concerns, please don't hesitate. Reach out to me or Sada or anyone in this group. We're all very welcoming. And I will see you guys soon.
Good night, everyone.
All right, good
Inshallah.
night. We'll see you next week, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much.